Roberts?
Yeah. We were chatting, but he knew your dad and you, and we talked about, he said he just had dinner with you at Casa or something recently. Yeah. With your, he said your fiance.
Well,
Is that, it's what he called her, and I
Yeah.
just went with it. I wasn't sure, but yeah.
no.
So, yeah, I ran into him, and then, I didn't ask the Steuben sheriff if you knew him, but.
I do.
Do you? Yeah, he was in our council meeting.
He probably hunts.
Huh?
He's probably a hunter.
I was giving him a hard
RJ's not
time.
a
I
hunter.
was picking on him. Just because, but,
Didn't get to say hi to you hardly this morning.
oh, I know, I was busy. Man, it's been a crazy week. Everybody safe out on Mount Liberty this morning?
So there was no shooting or
Okay.
anything like that whatsoever.
Good, okay.
It was a mental issue.
Yeah, okay.
He's sitting there telling us, he's like, I said, so where's the people in the woods? And he goes, right there, don't you see them?
Yeah, we've
There's
heard that
nobody
before.
right there.
Is that the second time? Maybe?
No. And then
Okay.
he goes, look at that one right there. He's crawling out of the woods. See him in his
Right.
green and red
Okay, well, then
jacket?
I'll come there as soon
I go,
as
that's a
get
dog food bag.
out. All right, look at that.
Hey, Eric, you're gonna, when will you
Mom said
start
hi.
recording? 4:15?
I said, I'm getting ready to see your daughter. She goes,
Issue
oh,
right
well, tell her I said hi."
Okay,
She could tell
But
me, she said hi.
ideally, you guys will
Yeah.
tell me you're ready.
okay, great. We are gonna be
But if you
recorded,
could give
so
me
you
a
know.
second.
She
Yeah.
said
Yeah,
hi,
no,
and
no
then you
rush.
owe her.
What do I owe her?
Oh, you missed, I told
Life,
you earlier,
I
you
don't
missed a hell of a meeting last
I
night.
need to listen to that still, I
Yep,
guess.
turn that on,
Who
watch it.
will?
I don't remember how far into it it
I
was,
was
but
just
you
messing
can,
with you.
you
She owes
can
me
scroll
one.
through.
Oh, does she?
Click on the bar.
She owes me one.
Oh, he was out of control.
Why? Like, what was,
I don't know, he was lit. He
well,
took Kevin's head off, and
what,
then after the meeting, he came by over here where I
And
was
he
sitting and
said-
tore into me.
Was it?
Oh,
Charlie Shaw.
Charlie Shaw.
been in the hospital today?
Hey, Corey.
Yeah, forgot, I had a back x-ray.
What was Charlie Shaw upset about?
It was Friday or Thursday or Wednesday, it doesn't matter.
And I got out a paper and I
Yeah.
did long
Yeah.
and math, and he was like, thank you for not just giving me my quarter back and telling me that it's already too late, because that
Yes.
happens all the time. And
It does,
I was
yeah.
just like, no, that's not how that works. And so
All right, are you ready to get started?
Yep.
Oh, someone else is coming in.
But it is one of my favorite things to do now as an adult. I'm like, no, you can figure it out.
Just
like,
take
you
time.
can figure it out. Like more than
That
once I've
changed.
taken out.
Call the Brown County Community Corrections Advisory Board meeting for February 5th, 2026 to order at 4:18.
18.
Well, hang on.
Thanks for coming.
Probably have an extra one later on.
Everybody get the agenda and meeting
Yeah.
minutes?
That one's worn.
No. If not, we have them up here. Oh, he's got mine.
They could get a bully.
All right. So any changes or corrections to the meeting minutes for November 13th? I had a question about something. Oh, I know what it was. So when you talk about the drug screens that we do, and you put opiates, is fentanyl included in the opiate and not? Yes. Okay. But we get notified what's going. So we could go back and look and see how much fentanyl we have.
I can have a break, I can break it down, but
It might be interesting, I don't know, it just kind of stuck to me, that might be an interesting.
Yeah.
Note
Yeah,
to,
sent it to you. You got them.
I don't think we've seen
we haven't in a while.
for a while, so that's good. Yeah,
Really?
yes,
Like a while as in like,
months, 6,
Yeah,
I'm trying to think last time.
we haven't had one in a while for
Yeah.
fentanyl.
We still have some opiates, and
yeah.
mostly it's THC and methamphetamine here.
Well, this is
What do you
great.
got?
So now I have a question.
Yeah,
Are you breaking it out for those who have prescriptions for opiates versus those who don't?
Yeah, it filters out, so if they have a prescription for an opiate, we mark it positive with prescription, and it takes it out of our positive drug screen number, because they have a prescription for it. And we only mark it that way if the prescription's verified.
there. All right,
That's good.
so do I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes from November 13th
So moved.
in a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting minutes are passed. Executive Director's Report.
Okay, so, with it being the first of the year, we'll be going over, kind of what we have year to date, and then later we'll do the annual report, which is all of 2025. So, for supervision summary, year to date and current, alcohol monitoring, we've had 2 year to date. Electronic monitoring, we have 1 juvenile currently, and so 1 total year to date. Home detention, we have 11 adults currently and no juveniles, and we have had 15 total year to date. Work release, we've had 0. Pretrial diversion, we have 2 currently, so 2 year to date. Transfer in home detention cases, we have 3 currently and 3 year to date, and then home detention cases that we've transferred out, we have 1 currently that has been transferred out to another county. Any questions over that? Okay. So then drug screens, so talking about drug screens, so since January 1st until today, we've done a total of 52 drug screens. Of those 52 drug screens, only 13 of those have been positive. The substances that they have been, have been positive for have been alcohol, THC, or methamphetamines.
What were those 2 figures again?
52 total drug screens collected, and of those 52, only 13 were positive for substances that they're not supposed to be using while on probation
How's
or
that,
community corrections.
how's that average out for, by history?
So in the annual report, it's detailed out,
Okay,
with that, we'll talk about that,
All
but, yeah, so we have more negative drug screens typically than we do positive, which is good. Okay. Financial report. So this month's meeting, or this quarter's meeting, we have, kind of the last 3 or so financial reports for 2025 that we have to approve. So November's financial report, you'll see on there that there was a transfer from the services line to the supplies line. Let me blow that up a little bit more for my eyeballs. You're welcome. So that was the transfer that got approved by the board at the last meeting in November, which DOC then also approved. So that's where you see that balance transfer. So in the month of November, we spent a total of $13,967 in personnel funds. In supplies, we spent a total of $24.46. And then in services, we had $1,628.51 out of the grant. In project income, we only spent $1,221 out of the supplies line. We did receive our grant grant money for the month, which was $14,530. You'll see here is our project income. So that's the user fees that we collect from clients. For the month of November, we collected $6,881, which put our total project income at the end of that month at $233,961. And then we didn't collect any CTP money for the month of November. Any questions over November's financial report? December. So December, we zeroed out our personnel grant money. So we spent that entire budgeted amount and then moved it. We then switched our payroll and funds over to the project income fund. In the supplies line, we spent $995.48, and then in the services line, we spent $4,375. We did receive our last grant payment of the year, which is the same amount as November's. For the month of December, our project income collections was $5,712. Our ending balance was $237,849. And we did not receive any community transition programming funding that month either. Any questions? Okay, then we have our 13th statement. This is just the last statement required by DOC for any bills that were outstanding from December, or December bills that we didn't get till January, to kind of give us the opportunity to use up whatever remaining grant funds we have. So we only spent the remaining $4.52 in the supplies line. We split up a bill that was a December bill. Services, same thing. We spent $2,020.07 to split up that, or to use up that grant money. So you will see down here that the total cash we received was our total grant amount, which was $232,482, and then we spent that entire amount. And So then our ending balance for our project income for the year was $237,849. Any questions? Is there a motion to approve the financial report?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Okay. Next thing is kind of for 2026, some budget updates. We did receive our 25% cash advance plus our monthly grant payment from DOC in January. So that'll be reflected on January's financial report. And then some other kind of updates. So in the grant, we always account for a salary increase, and we usually budget a 5% increase because we always match what the county does. And so this year, the county did some salary increases differently than they have in the past. It wasn't just a percentage. It was based on a salary study that I believe, Scott, the council did the salary study, correct? And so that bumped a few of our positions, that community corrections funds, that bumped their salaries up a little bit. And so we reflected that, the kind of the budget for the year is going to will reflect that. We have enough money budgeted for those increases in salaries for the individuals that fell into those categories that the council increased. That would have been our field officer position, and then the probation officer assistant position were the two that got increases. And I think that's all the budget updates that I had for 26 so far. Okay, annual report. So you do have a copy of the annual report.
Yeah.
You do have a copy of the, you should have a copy of the annual report. Can I have a, Hannah, can I have?
To be honest, I think I just broke up a file, so give me this.
So on the annual report, every year we have to do an annual report and submit it to DOC and to the commissioners. On the annual report, it's broken down into a few different sections. The first section is going to be that financial summary. Essentially, it breaks down the how much we brought in for the year in project income, and breaks down kind of the budget expenses for each kind of series or line that is shown on the financial reports. So some highlights from the financial summary, that for the year of 2025, we collected a total of $82,986 in project income money.
Mallory, where are you? Sorry, you lost
On
me.
page 1, on paragraph 2.
Gotcha.
It lists on there kind of just a summary of the grant award that we got, our starting balance for our project income, how much we got for project income for the year, so how much money we collected for 2025. And then it talks about the community transition programming funding. Our starting balance was the $3,726, and our ending balance, we collected $6,850 this year, and our ending balance was the $10,000 reflected on the financial reports. In calendar 2, or paragraph 2, it talks about in calendar year 2024 that the fiscal audit resulted in 0 findings from DOC in the state that was conducted for 2024. On page 2, there are kind of just a budget breakdown, some simpler breakdown of our expenditures and budgeted balance for the year and what percentage of those funds we expended. So you'll see that we expended our entire grant fund for 2025. And then in project income, we only spent $28,632, which was only 25% of the budgeted amount. And then community transition programming, there's that year-end balance of $10,576. In the last paragraph there on page 2, it talks about the carryover funds for 2025 was $0. And that, you know, if we go by the per diem rate at the state of how much that the IDOC has identified as the per diem rate, you know, if we paid that per diem rate for every person that we had on some form of monitoring, how much that cost could be in comparison to kind of the money that we've spent on there. Any questions about the financial section? The next section on page 3 is the services section. This goes over kind of the services we provided to the participants within the community. And so in 2025, we served a total of 73 participants with 74 cases open of supervision. And 17 of those supervisions remained active as of January 1st of 2026. On paragraph 3, on page 3, it details out kind of our kind of notable services. And so on the last sentence there, it says notable supervision services conducted by Brown County Court Services in 2025 included 409 drug screens. 71 of those drug screens were positive for one or more substances. We conducted 696 field visits in 2025, and then a total of 309 office visits in 2025. So Dwayne, in that's so we did a total of 409 drug screens, and only 71 of those drug screens that we conducted in our office or by our staff was positive for one or more substances.
Like 17% or something?
Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
And I wish we had old numbers to compare.
I know.
And that could be the same person failing multiple times too, so.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And then it details out of those 74 closed supervisions, what category they were in. So for alcohol monitoring, we had a total of 9 people on alcohol monitoring. We had a total of 9 supervisions on day reporting, 3 on electronic monitoring, 70 on home detention, 1 on work for release, 0 on felony diversion, and then 6 on misdemeanor or community service diversion. I'm going to be honest, in 2025, I was talking to Jen today, I felt like our numbers were very low, and when I ran the numbers, I was shocked. In 2024, we only had 46 supervisions on home detention, and only 3 on alcohol monitoring, and so we've increased alcohol monitoring, which has been really good, and then home detention has increased more than I had thought. So we had a total of 91 total supervisions for the year. On page 4, the first paragraph details out of those 74 supervisions, or closed supervisions that we had. 71 of them were successfully completed, so that's 96% of those. 3 were revoked due to technical violations, so that's any violation that's not a new offense or a violation because of a new arrest. And then we had none that were revoked because of new charges. Of the 17 cases which remained open in 26, only 1 was on alcohol monitoring, 14 were on home detention, 0 on work release, none on electronic monitoring, and then 2 are on pretrial diversion. And then on the table there on page 4, details out the average lengths of placement that we have on each program, and it's broken down between adults and juveniles. So for 2025, so for day reporting, it was an average of 108 days. Home detention, it was an average, or sorry, that was a total number of days, average of 54 days. Home detention, we had a total of 5,915 days that we had someone on home detention. And then 232 days for juveniles with an average length of 89 days. Work release, 134, so an average of 134 days. Alcohol monitoring, 636 days with an average of 70.67 days. Electronic monitoring for adults was 136 days and juveniles was 20 for an average of 52 days on electronic monitoring. Felony diversion was 0. And then misdemeanor or community service diversion was 579 days with an average of 96 and a half days on supervision. Any questions about the services section?
Yes, Ms. Moss?
Well, I guess for clarification, you talk about community corrections, but now you're a unified department. And so when we talk down below, when we talk about drug screens, is that for all of court services or just the community corrections supervision?
That's for all of court services, and that's why it says conducted by Brown County Court Services.
And so, and therefore the field visits.
Mhm.
But is the 309 office visits including probation cases as well?
Yes.
Yes, shouldn't they be broken out then? I mean, if this is a community corrections report, I understand unified court services, but if it's related to the community corrections budget and services.
Well, the office visits, are you counting? They're not counting probation and, how do you count them?
With a report that pulls all the notes.
Are you doing it? Oh, so you're doing it for
Notes
all
from
of
all
us?
the probation officers?
Yeah, it's for the entire agency.
It seems kind of low,
It does,
the 309 does.
yes. And that's my only concern, if you're reporting on community corrections activity, including individuals who have probation services but not community corrections services, it should be clearly stated, I guess.
Okay.
If that's what's happening.
Yeah, let me. Yeah, and I can go in and clarify that, break it down if that would be helpful. I will say the drug screen one is the one that's hard to break down because of the report we have to run, because it just runs it for the entire agency. And sometimes they're dual supervision, so it gets put on probation versus community corrections, how we note things in our system. But I will look here on.
Hey Mallory, quick question on that. Well, because I don't want it to pull completely crazy. Are the school field visits included because they're labeled a school visit rather than an office visit? Are those handled separately in this report? Because if so, that's where a lot of our meetings are coming from. For me, for the juvenile world.
Mm-hmm.
So are those included in this number or not?
I did not include that, so I can go back and include that.
I think that would
'Cause
be
I-
huge.
yeah.
Because about half of my visits are at school, because I try to alternate one school, one office, one school, one office for most of my cases. So
That makes sense.
I think that number is going to skyrocket if we include the school visits.
Okay.
One final question, does this include pretrial?
And for the
For any of the, like, drug screens?
drug
or
screens,
office
it does.
visits?
Drug screens it would. The office visits, I don't believe I pulled pretrial. The field visits, we don't really do field visits on pretrial clients, so that wouldn't have included pretrial.
Unless they're already on community corrections with their pretrial supervision.
Correct, and so, but just a pretrial client, without any community correction supervision wouldn't have field visits. And that's ordered by the court, which we've only had one or two that have had that. So I can go through, if that would be helpful, to break it down, and I will double check that office visit number.
I don't know if we need to do it right now, but that would be my concern about the report,
Yeah,
given the fact it's labeled just community corrections report.
okay. Yeah, I can go through and, I will go through and break it down, for each program on there. And that office visits was just community corrections.
Okay,
That makes sense.
that makes more sense.
Yep.
And I think, yeah, sometimes you're reporting just community corrections, and sometimes you're reporting all, it's just kind of a.
Yeah, I will, so what I'll do is I will break down I will put in here Brown County Court Services in 2025 included 409 drug screens and 696 field visits. And then I will specify that community correction specific had 309 office visits. Would that be beneficial, or do you want to break down those field visits as well?
I don't know if the system will let you do it, but
The field visits I could.
I think that would be.
Okay.
Or maybe you could make it one.
Yeah, I can do that.
Mallory, I don't know that it's gonna make a huge difference, but for the office visits, we would also want to include treatment visits, especially for juveniles, because I'm not meeting with them at the school or the office. I'm meeting with them in their placement. And I mean, that's a decent number of appointments as well.
Okay, I will do a chart, because I do think that would be the simplest, and clearest. So I'll do a chart and break it down, community corrections versus probation, and then, the total for the entire agency. Does that sound fine with the board?
Yeah. I think that would paint a very nice picture.
We keep juvenile probation separate from the adult probation, or we would add her numbers in with them.
Yeah, I mean, I could do,
I mean, that's an internal thing for you guys to.
yeah,
So you
do that.
could specify on your chart if it includes that or not.
Mhm.
I agree.
I think, and so Judge, one thing to, Judge, I do think that it might be a little difficult to break it down, because if they are on as a condition of probation, we have to open a community corrections case and a probation case. And so when they're on for a community corrections as a condition of probation, we're not gonna document in both places.
Oh, I understand.
So then we default, because probation usually runs longer than the community corrections, we default to everything gets documented in that probation case. So that might be where there might be a little bit of it might be a little skewed because that is the majority of those home detention supervisions.
Understood. I just think that the report itself needs to be clear
Okay.
as to what it includes, what it says.
Yeah.
Again, to give that picture.
I can do that. Okay. Any other questions, concerns, changes? Under major developments, we noted that we unified in January of 2024, and that unification has helped streamline and increase the level of supervision for clients. And then in July of 2025, the renovation of the probation office in the courthouse to include the entire agency, which has improved day-to-day operations and collaboration amongst staff significantly. And then in 2025, we had some staff turnover. The office managers retired or had left for both probation and community corrections. That allowed us to convert one of those office manager positions into the probation officer assistant position, which has provided a significant amount of support for officers across the board in our agency. And then we hired a new field officer to fill the vacant field officer position that we had. And then I noted the significant increases in alcohol monitoring and home detention, and the accountability that the alcohol monitoring provides for clients who struggle with alcohol use. And in home detention, the largest increases being juveniles placed on home detention and people transferring in from other counties, and also we had quite a few community transition programming placements this year.
How many do you have?
Total of 5, which I think the last year we only had 1.
And they come, explain what that is.
So the community transition program is where an inmate in DOC, if they meet certain criteria, can become eligible to be placed on the community transition program with community corrections. Every county and how they approve it does it differently. In Brown County, I write a report and file it with the court, and we have a hearing with the individual, and the judge hears from them, the prosecutor, and I read my report and anything else that I feel would be pertinent, and then the judge makes a ruling whether they're accepted or denied. If they're denied, they just have to serve the rest of their sentence in DOC. If they're accepted, we have a set out date that DOC will transport them to the courthouse. We typically place all community transition programming individuals on home detention. And so we focus on trying to help them if substance use treatment is a need, or getting medicated assisted treatment because they had it in DOC, and getting set up with a provider in the community, helping them find a job, housing, any of those kind of stability needs. We try to help in that. They can be on for anywhere from, I think it's anywhere from 60 days to 180 days. So that is kind of the community transition program. And then we get reimbursed at a rate of $25 a day from DOC for that.
Home detention's like a bracelet, neck, or whatever it is.
Yeah, an ankle monitor, and they have it's a GPS monitor, so we can monitor where they're at all times.
And the sending station is within the confines of their residence then?
In terms of, like, do they have something in their
I mean, if they
residence?
go outside of like a dog fence, so to speak.
Cellular
Yeah,
connected, or?
it's GPS, satellite, and cellular. There's nothing in the home.
Okay,
anymore
so
that
it
we have
goes
to
straight off of the leg.
Yep, and so
Okay.
we do set up zones
Yeah.
around an individual's residence or whatnot, and we do get notified if they go out of that zone for, we have it set up where it's
Sure.
3 consecutive points that we get, because being in rural Brown County, we do have, you know, that the drift where a point will, it'll throw them out of the zone for a minute and then bump them right back
Right,
in because of being in rural Brown County. But we do have it set up where we get notification immediately if they're not supposed to be out of their home.
Thank you.
And all these people are Brown County residents, people that our court has sentenced to DOC.
For community transition program, yes.
But they do come back to Brown County. So
Yes, if they, if they live in another county, we can work with that other county to have their community transition program transferred there.
Okay.
But it's not common that we have that. I think we've only had one or two since I've been here.
Okay, but it seems like it's working well. Reliable with it.
No.
So that's one. So I think it's a nice, you know, kind of shows you how stepping down and back into your community.
Mhm.
It's a good process.
I was just going to point out, that wasn't on the ankle monitor, doing my job, but they also put a zone around the victim if there was a criminal case. So if they can't get in touch with somebody, there's a notification that they get that they're too close to that person's residence or wherever else they zoned.
Like their place of employment or
Sure,
school
sure,
or work
sure.
or somewhere like that.
And so we get a notification that varies in terms of the proximity to that person's noted address. We get various notifications, so we'll know, you know, are they just too close or they've entered a zone that they're not supposed to be in, so, and we can address that. There's statute that we have to address in a certain time frame. So.
Thank you.
Yep. And then on the next section is the recommendations. For home detention day reporting, continuing to work closely with criminal justice partners to maximize the use and value of the components to the county. Work release, to continue to work closely with the sheriff's department to identify who would be appropriate candidates for placement and further develop the program. Pretrial diversion, to continue to work with the prosecutor's office to increase placements on pretrial diversion. And then alcohol monitoring, continuing to work with the various stakeholders, prosecutor's office, probation, courts, in hopes to increase placements on alcohol monitoring. And no discontinuation of services.
So yeah, we would love to increase our work release.
I know. That's a hard call on some of those.
Especially when I'm feeding them donuts every week or two.
Yeah, well, it's, if we had a body scanner, it would help. You know, I would be a little more apt to it.
That's
but
the main concern.
It's I mean, you gotta understand, if they come out, they come back, and I have an overdose
Right.
death in my jail, we are paying for it.
Yeah.
And it, you know, a lot of work release programs throughout the state have separate facilities for that. We do not. So I've got to be extra cautious with that and make sure that it's just a scary thing.
Are there any grants that would cover for like a body scanner? I know you had talked about one at some point, I thought.
There was a grant through IDOH that would have paid for a body scanner, but then they came and it was tentatively approved, awaiting for final approval, and then it was pulled
And-
because they changed.
And that helps, and that makes me feel more comfortable, but as the same theory goes, they can pull into our parking lot, walk into our facility, and go down. And we're on the hook for that. And I know a lot of people just don't take those things into consideration when we're talking about work release. I have to. And so I have to really be cautious with that, and it's.
You got the money, give it to them.
Well, you know, even the scanner though, it sounds like can you pick up like
Talking 10 grand?
pin tip of fentanyl? I mean, it's gotta be really difficult. I would think.
It's difficult, but I mean, if that's all there is, it's probably not gonna be enough to do anything with, but, I don't know, I'm probably overcautious.
Safety's your top priority and, yeah.
I mean, that security and safety of that facility is my
Do you
top
know any
priority.
counties that are doing it like really well and have high safety ratings?
They have
A lot more
facilities out.
equipment.
They have facilities for work release.
Separate,
Separate from the jail.
so that would help too.
Yeah, that's what most of them that are, like, Seymour and Jennings, Jackson County, Jennings County have a joint. Yeah. They have a joint facility that's working really well for them,
Mhm.
but
What kind of money you talking about?
a lot.
Yeah.
A lot's what, like 100 grand, 50 grand,
Oh.
10 grand?
Oh, for
Maybe 10, 15 million?
Oh,
Oh, for a facility.
Scanner.
Oh, for a scanner.
Yeah, the
Okay, I thought you
scanner.
meant for a facility. I'm like, oh my
No,
God.
I'm
But
not
you're
gonna.
saying you would.
You know,
want
for a
to-
scanner, probably 150 for what we would need.
When I,
1,000?
when I
Mhm.
priced it, Brad, it was, the one that we were looking at was like 240.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've seen some, I mean,
No hand-me-downs from other
hand-me-downs.
counties.
we,
Yeah.
we
Marketplace.
looked at one like that, but the footprint was about as
Oh,
this whole area right here, and our jail isn't designed for that, so then you got, it's like, what do we lose to put
to
that
gain that.
big footprint of that
Okay.
scanner in?
How many people are you talking about being able to, or do work
more than zero.
Yeah, I know, but if you're gonna go to that expense, is it like 10 people, 30?
Well, the thing is, the body scanner would also help us for
All in.
bookends, all inmate
Right.
bookends and everything.
Walk 'em
It
all
wouldn't
through.
just be just for
Yeah.
work release, but when somebody's being brought in on charges, then we could scan them before we put them in.
Well, that sounds huge.
I mean, it could be
Asset.
utilized even more than that. Like, I went to, I think Vigo County Juvenile
Mm-hmm.
Detention Center, and they sent me through a body scanner. So all their staff every morning go
So I
through the
mean,
body
that could be a
scanner.
huge asset.
Any
It
visitors go
could.
through a body scanner. It could be a huge thing, and I think it could be utilized to its full potential. 100%.
Most all the new jails now are being built with that
Mhm.
I mean, they're
In
just
mind.
building it right into the facility, and of course, ours is 20 years old, and that wasn't a thing then.
Is that something you can do?
I mean, we can talk about it for sure. I mean, because there's pretty good savings, I would think, over time, but.
I think to our advantage is that the fact is that we know our people. If we've got somebody that's looking at work release, they're all screened. Usually we know these people for a long time. So yeah, if we had somebody that was, a heroin addict, I'm gonna be a little bit more concerned than just my alcoholic that.
Right, but the thing of it is who do you usually ask me to go work release? And it's usually the drug addicts, and I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I don't like.
But it's usually meth, Brad, come on. One of the things, because I've got somebody in particular that I'm gonna work on, that is also a mental health client as well. And it's gonna have to be like, receive mental health stuff as well in conjunction with trying to get them back out on the outside. But we have that ability though, right?
Yeah, I mean, are you saying, I guess I don't know exactly what you're saying though. Are you saying release them from the jail or inside the
You're
jail?
in the jail. And
Yeah, I mean, most of
Well,
that money.
it's like
is-
work release.
But with
though.
work release clients, we do like, if
Talking about a
substance
female that was
use
just recently sentenced.
if substance use.
Cases.
We are,
Leave the room.
we are on audio as well.
Yeah,
Video.
I didn't say names, I'm just saying, I can guess it if you,
What were you?
No, I was just gonna say, if they're on work release and treatment is a need, the mental health treatment, we allow them to do that.
To go to treatment. I mean, I will say with Recovery Works, we can do a lot inside the jail. Right now, the one thing that is not, well, if they're in the jail on work release, they'd be on community corrections, right? So they would have the community corrections grant, so they could get therapy in the jail too. Recovery Works won't cover therapy.
So do you guys ever have a problem with payment of, getting anyone into a medical or into mental services?
We have a grant through Community Corrections that helps cover anybody on Community Corrections that doesn't have the ability to pay for services. We don't ask us to grant if there is payment through insurance or through Recovery Works funds.
Because we just started this year, recognizing and doing scans with people with, mental months worth of care to the clinic if they need physical, and if they need mental too. So, and then they're also, we're partnering with Brown County for Better Healthcare. And if someone has insurance, but they have a copay, or if they have, a deductible that they can't pay for, so they don't get medicine or treatment that they need, Brown County for Better Healthcare will take care of that. And that's dental, medical, mental wellness, and they have something else, that they're covering. And we are having a meeting, which I would love some of you to attend with me. So, when we sit down and actually draw out what all of this looks like on a permanent basis, because we're using our clinic funds that we had left over, and that's what we're using to put these people on. And if they have no insurance, they can go to the clinic 3 months for free, and then the Brown County for Better Healthcare is taking over after that. So, we can pay for their clinic, and it's the $65 for 3 months. We pay for it for 3 months. And they have free medications there too, in case and we get all their medications. Certain meds, they have a big list, but like, let's say they have a blood pressure issue, or they need an antibiotic, or whatever.
Basic
Yeah.
meds.
So we're trying to get this out here because I only had 6 people that used it last year.
Wow.
And there's got to be people out there that need it.
For sure.
If you really, I'm afraid it's kind of a line of probably how much you advertise it or not. 'cause you
Oh,
don't
you
make
have
money.
had it on Facebook, in the newspaper articles, we have, like,
Give a
it's,
flyer and
right.
you can send that out.
Well, and I think, more just to clarify, when you use the word clinic, you're not talking about Brown County Health, you're the health department, you're talking
Brown
Brown
County
County
Wellness
Health
Clinic,
Wellness
for active
Clinic.
ND,
Yes.
yes,
I knew what you're talking about, but I know this is being recorded, so.
Okay.
yes.
For the annual report, so with those changes and updates, I do need approval. So if I make those changes and updates, would the board, I guess, would they want to tentatively approve it with those changes and updates, or would you like me to send it out via email with those updates for review, and then you guys can email me back that you approve it or not? How would,
We're just doing numbers, right? Just
Yeah.
changing. I'm okay with it being approved now, but.
I'm all right with it.
okay.
Yeah.
So we need to vote on that.
Make a motion that Mallory make the corrections with numbers and the report be approved.
Second. Melissa, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Okay, so real quick, so for 2027 IDOC grant, the grant award just went out, or grant announcement just went out in the last week or so. Just a few updates. The award amount decreased from, I believe it was 62 million to 52 million. So it got decreased significantly. So, that being said, that's a concern. But also, the grant, or the due date for the grant, they keep moving up earlier and earlier. So it's April 1st. So we had scheduled our meeting for April 9th. So we need to either add a special meeting or figure out a different solution for approving that grant, because I have to have board approval before I can submit that. So that is, we need a meeting date and time or discussion of how we want to do that.
Can you email that out for approval?
I don't see why not.
Save you from the effort of gathering everybody again.
Yeah, I don't see why not. If I could get enough responses approving it, then yeah.
Do a Zoom
Or we can do a Zoom meeting or something, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then have it emailed out by that last week of March.
Yeah.
So when's that gonna happen?
First on a Wednesday.
No Wednesday.
So I will have to go to the commissioner meeting on the 25th.
Of
March.
March.
or is it the? It'd be the 25th.
That's about right.
So it'd be the 18th. So, yeah, which is fine if I go to commissioners before, it's just for letter of support. So, I could send it out though, that the week of the 16th, March 16th, and then, if board could have a response to me by the end of that week, that gives me a week and a half to kind of make any changes, edits, updates that I need to do and I have to get a few more, there's a few more like signatures that I have to get, and stuff from different people once it's approved. I also am going to talk, one thing that they were requested in the 2027 budget is that if the county provides any money to any community corrections agency, we have to provide our 2026 budgets with that reflecting what the county's put in. Our county doesn't give us money, but there's a ton of in-kind services that they provide us that I think are very important and need to be taken into consideration. If I have a feeling the DOC is kind of looking at kind of county buy-in, how much is the county's also contributing. So I am going to talk with council about getting a letter of support and detailing out all of those in-kind services to include with the grant.
I would, yeah, you mean like your space, your security officer, your.
They can put
Insurance, they're paying for insurance, the technology services, utilities, all of that, yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because there were times when I remember community corrections rented space.
Right.
And it came out of their budget.
Any questions over that?
Would it help to have even just a small amount of actual dollars, like separate from in kind, or would it not make? No.
What do you do with insurance?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it just doesn't reflect, we don't have a specific, it doesn't come out of a budget that they assign to us, so it's not gonna reflect on any budget I give
I
DOC. So that's where I think that a letter of support or detail
Detailing,
from the
that
council
makes
of all
sense.
the things that they give us, including insurance,
Yeah.
because they just pay for it out of the health fund.
Got it.
So that's where I think that's important.
So you're saying we don't need a meeting, you're gonna mail it out and then we approve by email?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll do that. And then just a few updates for, we did hire a new field officer, Connor Johnson. He's kind of been training and is good to go. He's a really good fit into our agency. And very eager to learn and do and go see people. So that's been going really well. And then some other goals for 2026. Couple of things is looking at juvenile detention alternatives and using home detention versus detaining a juvenile in situations that would be deemed appropriate. There are some that we do have to detain. But working on that with juvenile probation and the courts, and then also law enforcement, as they're the ones that would be signing some paperwork. So looking at that as a goal for 2026 to review that policy and work on. And then another goal I have for 2026 is we have MOUs with various entities and agencies within the county. So I want to review them, and if there needs to be any changes to those, I will do that. So there are some people in the room that I have MOUs with that I will be reaching out to schedule those meetings to do that. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
How's our 2026 rolling stock looking vehicle-wise? Gonna be
So
okay?
vehicle-wise, we have our Dodge Durango that's doing great.
Good.
No issues there. We have the 2015 Explorer. We haven't had any major issues with it. I mean, it's still running great, no issues. The 2017 Escape, there has to be a leak or something in the interior. And I've taken it up to Ford once and they looked at it, they couldn't find a leak.
Like exhaust or water leak?
inside, interior.
It's awful. I'm just gonna say
You
it.
mean during rain periods or antifreeze or
No,
what?
there's
Smells
nothing,
moldy.
All the time. She took it, she took it to Ford. They
I
looked at it.
spent so much time carpet, like cleaning it, trying to, yeah. So
It's bad.
we're going to,
You didn't hear that mold.
I'm gonna be taking it, I'm gonna reach out to another person who works at a different area of Ford that I know personally that is kind of the head over their, one of their like shops or whatever, and see if he can look at it and see if he can find something or figure out a solution. I'm not sure what that cost would be. I don't know, but we're gonna need to look at that, getting that fixed, and so that, because it is a good car to run.
Do we need 3 vehicles?
I would say 2 a maximum. I mean,
That would be great.
that would, yeah, I mean, we
Put it
could,
on your report of money.
I mean, yeah, we could decide to offload that. I think the Explorer, something to keep in mind is we will probably need to, it's 10, 11 years old now.
Yeah.
We probably will need to be replacing that because we do put quite a few miles on our vehicles, especially with now having a field officer. So the Explorer is definitely one that we will probably need to replace in the next couple of years. But I think definitely having 2, because we do run into situations where Hannah's on a residential visit and we have to go do field visits, or you know, someone's out doing field visits and we get a call that we need to go handle a situation at the jail or at the school or at someone's house or whatever. So I think having 2 vehicles is necessary,
Oh, for sure.
At least.
at least.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The old one's the leaker.
No, that's the 2017 Ford
Did
Escape.
we get it new?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is.
It's really bad. I got in it, 3 months ago maybe? And I drove it down to get my laptop, literally from here to the courthouse, and I had the heat on because it was cold outside.
Steamed up.
The bailiff came out and he was like, "You are not driving this car. You need to take it and park it and get something else. It's bad." And I got out of it and I smelled like that car for the rest of the day. To the point that I drove 2 hours, and they got there and they were like, what is that smell? And it was me.
What's our alternative if, other than fixing it? It sounds like it's gonna be look for something and look for money first.
I mean, we have the money in project income. But I don't like,
Let's dump it.
I like to
Well,
give
trying to fix it one more time.
Yeah.
You have a good option.
Yeah, if there's a good
before that
option.
decision.
Yeah, I'm
You have
gonna,
to replace the interior.
Fix it, and
problem-
you have to have it,
The problem is that it's got the carpet, but then it also has cloth seats. So I think exhausting the effort Mallory has is definitely worth it, but if that does not work.
yeah, if they come back and say it's gonna be like X thousands of dollars to do it, no, it's not worth it at that point. But,
No.
and that would have to come before the board anyways. Anything that's $1,500 or more that is not a vendor service that we already have established, I have to have a board approval, so that would have to come before everyone.
But if we lost that vehicle from the fleet, it wouldn't shut you down.
No,
It would just
Not
put
right
a
now.
bump in it.
yeah, not right now, yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
Hopefully we can get it fixed though.
that'd be nice. Cause it's still a good car, I mean,
Yeah.
and it's good for when we
It's
have to
good
drive, it's good
on
on gas
mileage,
mileage and
yeah.
stuff. I mean, when we have to drive 3 hours to a residential placement.
Because when you place juveniles in a residential
And-
placement, you gotta see them every month.
And they're not close.
And they're not close, no. And we used to use their personal vehicles for that. I mean, yeah, we got mileage, you know.
Well, I'm
but-
looking at the liability end of it when we do have to put
Yeah.
somebody in it and then they have an issue.
Oh, yeah.
Then it's not gonna be so pretty.
So
Dump it.
I'm gonna reach out to them, here in the next couple weeks. They didn't have a lot of availability last time I called them. But I'm gonna reach out to them and see if they can just look at it and give me kind of an idea of what we're looking at and then go from there. So,
Can we do that locally, like Duffy or somebody? that
I
could-
called locally and none of them were willing to either A, do it, or B, have the time to do it.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I am just gonna take it to probably Ford and have them look at it specifically.
Well, and if it did come down to like having to actually like replace the carpets or something, they might have something there.
Because that was the one thing a lot of the shops that I called said that they would not do.
Yeah, but you gotta find the core issue before you replace anything.
Correct.
All right,
But other than that, that's the only
doesn't sound
issue.
good.
Yeah, that's the only issue that we utilize.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone need anything else?
Move to adjourn.
Nice work.
Did you get my, in the
No,
new
my
rebuild?
question for you, or what I wanted to talk to you about is if we do change this detention policy, which we need
I think
to,
we're done.
financially, we need to, and it's just
Our next
better.
meeting